Give me a few seconds, guys. I'm setting up right now, and we're going to start talking about the podcast, guys. Of course, I hate when wires are tangled up. Hello, hello, hello. All right, perfect. I can hear. Okay, guys. Today we're going to do a little bit slightly different, and we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling. Yes, guys. Let me put this out right now. Alright. Any fans know about the podcast? So, alright, guys. This is UTSA Deli with the Mark Wrestling Podcast for September 5th, 2020. Today we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of things I wanted to talk about for a while. One thing is we're going to talk about Thunder Rosa, the impact she has done in wrestling, NWA, and much more. Then we're going to talk a little bit about AEW All Out. Who we think is going to win? Do we think this is much more better pay-per-view than WWE has been producing in the last 6 months? And let's say what we want to see transpire. And then, is NXT being rebuilt? Should it be rebuilt? Because right now they are, I don't want to say it, but they are failing. Numbers wise, they're doing good. But to fans, they're hardcore 15 up fans, it's just looking at it and just like, what is going on here? So, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to see what do we want to see, or I want to see what can be done to change things. Like, what should we see? So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Give me one moment, just trying to get this correct. Alright. First things first, guys. Thunder Rosa. Oh my god. I want to say in the less than a year, right? Less than a year has she created a craze in women's wrestling. Yeah, I see my hair, guys. Thank you for the chat. I see my hair. But going back to Thunder Rosa, she has created a craze for women's wrestling that hasn't been seen since the original Four Horsemen was shown on... Four Horsewomen, sorry about that. Four Horsewomen back in, I want to say, 2016 for WWE. So, right now, I see Thunder Rosa as being a... something that wrestling needs right now. Something fury, something vengeful, something like where if she says she's going to kick your ass, she's going to kick your ass. So, going back to Thunder Rosa, she is breaking barriers in wrestling. Where fans, no, not her, when Sheeta made that proposition looking for women's wrestling, like for a competitor, like what Cody was doing with the TNT title, the fans said they wanted Thunder Rosa. Very little I saw from other wrestling organizations, like, oh, she picked this person. Like, no. They want Thunder Rosa. So, she is breaking barriers in wrestling where she is to the point where, in my opinion, she's the new face of the NWA. I know for years, Nick Aldis had that with representing the 5 pounds of gold, or 10 pounds of gold, whatever it is, for NWA World Wrestling Heavyweight title. But right now, it's Thunder Rosa. Not only showcasing NWA, but the NWA World Women's Championship. So, in my opinion, I think she is the new face at NWA. Even with the COVID situation going on, she's carrying the NWA right now. Carrying. So brings me my new thing. I know for years where I read and watched where a lot of Latina wrestlers were put up as the next Rey Mysterio or the next Eddie Guerrero to represent the Latinos and Latinas. To be the ones who are like, alright, they're carrying the torch. And this is my honest opinion. I feel Thunder Rosa is that next Rey Mysterio, next Eddie Guerrero to carry that torch. In wrestling. Not saying like, oh, she's a women's wrestler. Or no, not saying like, oh, because she's doing NWA, she's Latina. No. Because there's a lot of Latinas out there in other wrestling organizations that are champions and Latinos as well. They're not having the pull. I'm saying that. The pull what Thunder Rosa is doing. So, yeah, I feel that. I really do feel that. So, what if she wins at AEW? I know a couple of podcasts ago, we did talk about that. I want to reiterate that again, maybe with a possibly new idea. If I was a booker, this is what I want to do. Have Thunder Rosa go over Cheetah. Clean. No squash. A clean, hard-fought match like what she did with Serena Dweeb on TNT Thunder. A clean match. Thunder Rosa is the new women's champion for AEW. What's going to happen now? So now you give Thunder Rosa that Brock Lesnar treatment where she'll come on to Dynamite, sorry about that, and talk about her being the champion, her wanting to face people here and there. So you build her up as his huge wrestling commodity, where she is just the top dog you gotta beat. So around her waist is NWA Women's title, World Women's title, and on her shoulder is the AEW Women's title, showing that this is much more important to me than this. So there'll be challenges where she will face the AEW women's wrestlers, maybe like a Ilviz or Diamante or just not random women, but maybe give Sheeta a rematch. Maybe Riho, if she does come back. I don't know if she will or not because of the COVID situation with the ones wrestling out for Napoli Ford. give them opportunities to face Thunder Rosa throughout the next few weeks or even 2 months. And then build it up where Dr. Britt Baker comes out, challenging Thunder Rosa, but creating that turning I don't want to say turning her face, but keeping Dr. Britt Baker as the heel and Thunder Rosa as a face, but still consider Thunder Rosa as the outsider. So you have Dr. Britt Baker with a rebel, and then they're antagonizing Thunder Rosa to the point where they're gonna have a match. But Thunder Rosa doesn't come alone. She could bring along maybe like an Alex Garcia or Holidead to be in her corner to even things out. But then, here he goes. And then during the match, when Thunder Rosa is losing to Dr. Britt Baker, let's say the referee got knocked down, you see Big Swole coming out. So you know how right now they're having a situation right now with Big Swole and Dr. Britt Baker. So everyone's like, oh no, she's going to join Thunder Rosa's side. Have Big Swole come in, look at Thunder Rosa, and then look back at Dr. Britt Baker. And when she's about to attack Dr. Britt Baker, she stops and then attacks Thunder Rosa. Everyone's going to be losing their mind, like, what's going on? Big Swole does her move. Dr. Britt Baker covers. 1, 2, 3. And then at the end, Dr. Britt Baker and Big Swole hug each other out, becoming a new group where Dr. Britt Baker is absorbing. So that's what I want to see for AEW, or something similar to that. But I do want Thunder Rosa to win the title, carry it along for the next few months, and then at the end, drop it to Dr. Britt Baker. So I think that would not only help out AEW Women's Wrestling, but give it a little fire. So I believe later on this year, NWA should be coming back up with that pay-per-view they're doing. So this is a good way to keep Thunder Rosa busy, keep NWA in the name going out there, as well as until some of the wrestlers come back that are injured or from the COVID situation, women's wrestlers. This could fill in that gap for AEW. But all in all, I have to say this, Thunder Rosa is that next big thing in wrestling. Is that next person where she is headliner for your events. Not indie. Big name events. So everybody keep on watching, because what she has done in the last 8 months is phenomenal. So, moving on to our next one, AEW All Out. AEW All Out is actually today, this Saturday, September 5th. Order on pay-per-view, Bleachers Report. I think Sling TV has. I think I saw a commercial about it on Sling TV. You can order it from there, so I'll be checking that out. So we're gonna have the buy-in. It was originally gonna be Big Swole versus Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, but it got moved on to the main event, not the main event, main pay-per-view. So for the buy-in, it'll be the Private Party versus 3 and 4 of the Dark Order. I seen that being a pretty good match. I'm seeing Private Party taking this match. They're a good team, and I seen them being future tag team champions in AEW. So moving on, the tooth and nail match between Big Swole and Britt Baker, and this is huge. It's gonna be a good match. I know that for sure. I see Big Swole taking it, because that's what all the stuff she's taking from Britt Baker, she's gonna take it. Because it's gonna keep Britt Baker still as a heel. Most likely she'll come on Dynamite after the pay-per-view, complaining about Big Swole, complaining about this. So it keeps her role model going on. So it's gonna be viable and be good. valuable and be good. The next match will be the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson versus the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. That should be a good match. Just something you see, something you'll want to see on Dynamite, not pay-per-view worthy, but Jungle Boy is a phenomenal wrestler, so is Luchasaurus, and the Young Bucks are the Young Bucks, so hopefully they tell a story. Well, they started telling the story on Dynamite this past Wednesday about almost falling out during that tag match, so hopefully that continues. May lead to a bigger storyline, possibly. So the Casino Battle Royal was a bunch of wrestlers for getting an opportunity to win the to get a chance to wrestle for the AEW Championship. This should be a good one. In my opinion, I see Lance Archer taking it. He's big and scary. I'm seeing maybe between him and Brian Cage. Brian Cage is another person I see that's going to be big in AEW. Very, very big. And having him with Taz and just learning off of Taz and building off with Taz, I feel that's like same way with Lance Archer with Jake Roberts. It builds them up more. Builds up their name, builds up their wrestling attire. So I feel that's going to be really big there. The next match is the Dark Order, which is Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno versus the Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona, and Scorpio Sky. This can be a good match. Very, very good match. Well, not very good, but it'll be a good match. I see Matt Cardona taking the pin on Brody Lee. I see that. And sets up something between Matt Cardona and Brody Lee later on, and possibly Matt Cardona winning the TNT Championship from Brody Lee. That's what I want to see, but I want a big storyline going towards it, and I think it's moving in towards that. Next match is a Broken Rules match between Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, whatever. Matt Hardy loses, he will leave AEW. I don't think he'll leave AEW. I think he'll be more of a trainer role for AEW. I know he's been doing some stuff in the backstage with some of the other wrestlers. He's been posting about that. So I think Sammy's going to take the win. I think he will. Setting him up like how Brock beat Undertaker, setting up to a monster heel, monster role. And I see Sammy doing that. Not talking, need more water. But pardon me. But I do see a big role going towards Sammy in the future, and Matt being more in the back, helping out the future of the wrestlers. I see that big time. Very, very big, and that's beneficial for the wrestlers that are starting out and more. This transition will be very good for not only Matt Hardy, but also giving that monster push to Sammy Guevara. Now here's another match where I'm like, but I think it's gonna be good. For the AEW Tag Team Championships, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus FTR. God, I hope FTR wins. Just Kenny and Hangman are two phenomenal wrestlers. I love Hangman a lot. I think this guy is phenomenal. He's he should be in main event right now. But as a tag team, they haven't been doing that much. I can't take them serious. But the storyline's good. Or the situation between the fallout between Hangman and the Elite, but Kenny's still there with Hangman, trying to there like, I'm there for you, buddy, But FTR has to win. For the sake of the tag teams of AEW. FTR should win and then start looking at other teams to wrestle against. I really don't want to say Bucks for FTR. Quite honestly, maybe best friends, because they're hot right now. And I thought I would never say that, but when you look at it from a fan's point of view and a wrestling point of view, they're hot. Best friends. They've been on TV the whole time during the COVID situation on TNT, and they got themselves better and they got themselves over. So I see them with going with FTR, going back and forth for those tag titles. Quite honestly. And of course, the AEW Women's Championship, Hikaru Shida versus NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. And we heard myself talk earlier that I see Thunder Rosa taking the championship in a hard-fought match, and then defending it like in a Brock style type way for a couple of months on AEW television, beating everybody, then beating a lot of the women wrestlers until she comes up to Dr. Britt Baker and they start their storyline, culminating to Dr. Britt Baker beating Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's Championship. And single-handedly just solidifying Dr. Britt Baker as a major woman wrestler for AEW, but getting the rest of the women's name talked about instead of negatively, but positively through the wrestling and through their showcase. And I feel Thunder Rosa is that missing piece AEW needs at this moment to fill in for AEW Women's Champion, represent them, and put it over. Yeah. Mimosa Mayhem match. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. That should Chris Jericho, I think, is going to put one over on Orange Cassidy. I feel this feud's going to continue and culminate to something more than this. So I see Chris Jericho winning and continuing the feud. AEW World Championship match. Jon Moxley versus MGF. This is going to be... Many people don't know where it's going to go. Moxley versus MGF. Moxley's banned from using the paradigm shift. I feel with the help of Wardlow, I think MGF is going to win the AEW World Championship. I really feel it. That this is going to happen. So that's my take for the card for tonight's AEW pay-per-view. Who we wanted to see, who we think we're going to see. I do feel Jon Moxley's gonna lose. I feel that. I feel Wardlow is going to interfere. And I feel there's going to be a rematch later on in a Dynamite episode, either this upcoming one or the next one. I feel Renee Moxley might come out tonight too as well. That's what I feel. And I had also thought maybe if MGF was going to win, but I pushed that in my mind. But I'll let you guys know. Originally, I thought maybe Nick Aldis will come out, help MGF win, and invite MGF to Strictly Business as a group from NWA, or a partnership where Strictly Business and then MGF thing will do together. You know, his campaign. And then we'll create where Moxley will go after Nick Aldis and do a situation between Nick Aldis and Jon Moxley, culminating to Moxley winning the NWA World's title for a bit. So that's what I had thought for a while, but I pushed that on my own. I don't think that's going to happen. We want that to happen. That'd be cool. Jon Moxley is the NWA World's Champion and defending the World's Championship on AEW. So this helps out NWA and their partnership with AEW. Provide AEW with talent to keep it fresh, keep it going, and also provide not only the talent but also people to help themselves outgrow. Kind of like what ECW did to WWF or WWE at the time, where they couldn't take no more of their talent, but for WCW won't gain their talent, but it went to WWF, and it helped out in the end. But let's see how that will go. Alright, guys. Now we're moving on to NXT. And it's something that I didn't really want to talk about or say, but it has to be talked about. Rebuilding NXT. The NXT rebuild phase. quite honestly, I've been watching the past 2 weeks. It sucks, dude. Storylines suck. You just don't feel the energy no more. And I don't know. But there's some things I was going to talk to you guys about. Let me know what you guys think. One that's talked about by everybody is a different date for NXT. They got huge numbers when they weren't against AEW. And they're on different dates. I think this could work out really well. People were saying Tuesdays to follow Raw, but why not Thursdays to be the precursor to SmackDown? So, this is why I say for Thursdays, because then they could share talent. Thursday and Friday. This will make it more easier because I feel Raw's still a dominant show, even though a lot of the top wrestlers are on SmackDown. Raw's the dominant show. Raw's the ones getting more than numbers. Well, actually, it's SmackDown, but I feel Raw's more of a different view. So I feel that should Thursdays be the precursor to SmackDown. Maybe introducing storylines from SmackDown so they could be based off of it and help out with ratings of sort. So it will give a chance to my next topic I want to talk about with rebuilding NXT. It's freshening things up. Moving some of the NXT wrestlers to SmackDown. So Keith Lee already moved to Raw, so let's move some of these wrestlers to SmackDown. Like Undisputed Era. They're ready. They are ready. Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish going after the tag titles. Roddy being out there, as well as Adam Cole, get them on SmackDown and get them going. At the same time, bring some SmackDown wrestlers to NXT to help freshen things up on the show. And one name that I feel that everybody's not talking about that would do really well is AJ Styles. This guy could have matches with Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, hell, Finn Balor again. Or maybe do something with Finn Balor. Recreate the club. Bullet Club, as they say. And also with Punishment that's not his name. Damian Priest. I was going to say Punishment Martinez. I'll read a Ring of Honor article, but sorry about that. But Damian Priest, that's the future of NXT right there. That guy oozes machismo. That guy is different. That's the future in the NXT World Champion. I know he's a North American champion right now, but dude, he just oozes coolness. So that guy, him and AJ doing some matches together, it'll be epic. Epic. And as well as AJ Styles with his numerous years in wrestling, 20 plus years, like you could pass down some knowledge to some of those wrestlers, tune them up for SmackDown, can have them ready for SmackDown instead of wrestling each other. And then when they go up to SmackDown or to Raw, they're like, oh, there's a big difference. Even though you have like a Finn Balor down there, or you have like a Breeze Dango, that had been the main roster, I feel more from an AJ spot that they could benefit more than a Breeze Dango or a Finn Balor just to build themselves up and be ready. Because AJ does that indie and main stage stuff, and he could do that back and forth and help them adapt. So my big deal, I think they're ready to do this because NXT needs to be rebuilt. They need to freshen things up. Even if they move to a different day and think they can do this, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter just because if not, they're going to lose fans. They got it now by going to different days and getting some of the AEW wrestling fans. But they need to keep it fresh so they can get the views, so those people can follow a Keith Lee to Raw and then not be like, who is this guy? Oh, this is a new wrestler. Oh, he's from NXT. Well, I don't watch NXT. I only watch Raw and SmackDown. And you have people like that who are like, oh, I don't watch Raw and SmackDown. I only watch NXT. So it kind of brings the product down because they don't realize who's who, and then they start talking on the internet like this and that. Like, no, you got to follow the product both ways in order to grow the wrestler and grow the product and make it seem viable. Yeah, and the last thing for the rebuilding of NXT, the women's division is great. They got some of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Get a secondary title. We have to have the women's tag titles move to different brands to accommodate these women's wrestlers now. Get them a women's intercontinental championship title. I know I said that for years. It's time. Get them a secondary title that's precursor to the Raw women's title, SmackDown women's title, NXT women's title. Get them that intercontinental title. You want to do it all three brands here? More than welcome to all three brands that give them the tag titles. But this way it keeps things fresh, keeps things moving around, and have something for women to fight for an accomplishment in order precursor to the title. So in a fan's view, it'll be like, all right, this woman deserves the title because she's already done this and this, or she's been the Intercontinental Champion. So a secondary title, you don't have to call it the Intercontinental title. You can call it maybe maybe you do the United States Women's title. Something like that, secondary title to freshen things up for not only for NXT but everything else in between. So it's a good podcast today, guys. I know I haven't done it in a while. I've just been so very, very busy with Job Spotlight. I was like, today I should do it. Got a lot of wrestling on my mind. So today we talked about Thunder Rosa breaking the barriers and also possibly being the next Rey Mysterio / Eddie Guerrero torch carrier. And maybe becoming the AEW Women's Championship champion tonight. As well as that AEW All Out pay-per-view. Who we thought was going to win, who should win, and what do we think will happen after they win. And then rebuilding NXT, a different date to show NXT on USA Network. Sharing wrestlers, let's say with SmackDown, bringing AJ Styles to NXT to help out some of the male wrestlers there, as well as a Disputed Era to SmackDown to freshen things up, bring the coolness over there. And then lastly, it's just a secondary title for the women's. Since they have a large woman gallery, this will be good for them. So that's my take. Today's the Mark Wrestling Podcast, guys. This will be uploaded to YouTube later on, but thank you guys for listening and watching. Hope you guys have a phenomenal day. This is UTSA Deli. We'll see you at the cons. All things deli.